Okay, now, the first question is this. Why do the Australians do this thing with their hats? I mean, what's with the one side folded up deal? Have you ever researched that? It's kind of weird. I mean, I don't like the way it looks that much. this is the this is the mighty expedition hat that keeps me cool and dry, and man, when it pours down rain, the water just comes off of it. Okay, so this is a single mom's support video. Real serious. Okay? And the primary work is the young man who is literally a man and how to handle that stuff. Okay, this is me, Grandpa Honesty Guy, laying out the real deal of the stuff that I went through that my parents didn't know and almost like they didn't care about. And I don't know. I'm telling you, the world is a weird place. Okay? Now, so I got the mighty expedition hat on because we're going for an expedition. You need to hold on to your socks, your armchair, because we're going to go for a pretty slick ride. All right? And I've got the butterscotch colored scarf on. I have a range of interesting colored scarves. This was given to me by friends in Wisconsin. And why are you wearing that scarf around your neck all the time? Well, I used to work as a boat rigger. I learned how to sail. I learned how to race sailboats in 10th grade on a tiny little lake in New Jersey. It's actually a river, Cooper River. Cooper River has such shifty winds that if you learn how to sail there, you can be like a world-class champion. Cooper River put some serious world-class sailing champions out into the world. And when I was a kid, still a kid, that's set in my life. And when I lived in New York City, I would jump on the New Haven line at Grand Central Station, and I would blast up into Connecticut, which is real nearby. And I would get picked up by my Uncle Herman and my Aunt Sonia, and we would drive down to Westport Yacht Club, where there are 52 18-foot boats with an enormous amount of sail on them. I mean, even though the boat weighed 450 pounds, 480 pounds or so, with a weighted centerboard, when that boat is sitting on the water, it looks like an eggshell just sitting there. And when you lay 570 square feet of sail in the rigging, including a spinnaker, that boat just goes. It used to be the highest sail area to water displacement ratio. That means how heavy the boat is to how much physical sail is designed on the boat. Highest ratio of boat weight to huge sails of all boats for a long time. Now, of course, high technology has changed a lot of that. So, why am I telling you about sailing? Because when I was 20-something, I'd lived in New York, I moved back to South Jersey, and my dad said, "Hey, there's an ad in the paper here for a sailboat rigger. Do you know what that is?" And I was like, "No." So I made a phone call because, I needed to get some work going. So I drove to this place. I sat down with the guy who's the boss. He's got all these amazing sailboats in this gigantic yard. He's got outboards and fishing boats and canoes and little sailboats, racing boats, big cruising sailboats, 34-foot boats that you can put 8 or 10 people on. And I sat down with the guy, and he said, "Have you ever sailed a sailboat?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a thistle racer." He's like, "Yeah?" I'm like, "Yeah, my fleet in Connecticut's got 52 boats, and I'm still sailing with them. I get on the train in New Jersey, get to New York, and go up there from time to time." He said, "That is some serious sailing. So you know how to handle sails and how a boat performs." And then he said, "Do you have your own toolbox?" Well, I had been working on antique cars and British motorcycles during the punk scene in Manhattan for a while. So yeah, I had a good tool complement. He said, "Do you have your own toolbox?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Great, you're hired. Be here at 6:30 in the morning." And all of a sudden, I had this job. And you know what I did? He handed me a sander, and he showed me how to sand bottom paint off of a 30-foot hull. And so all this toxic bottom paint is covering me with blue or red or green or whatever. And I'm sanding and sanding with the breather on, back before real breathers. And gradually they put me on boats and showed me how to drill holes in fiberglass and mount compasses. And this one guy said, "So look, this boat's going out in 4 hours. Can you mount a compass on that other boat I'm working on? Because I got to finish this boat up." And I'm like, he's like, "Here's the hole cutter. Here's the compass." And he's like, "Go ahead." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. Where do I put the thing?" He's like, "Listen, I don't have time to hold your hand, buddy. This is a brand new boat. You sit in the cockpit, you figure out where you would want the compass, and you just drill a pilot hole and get that thing mounted. Goodbye." So I'm like drilling a hole in, like, back then it was like $75,000 worth of fancy plexiglass, but fancy fiberglass rather. Now, gosh, it's got to be at least 2-3 times that for a 34-foot sailboat. I don't know what they go for nowadays, but maybe, $2,000, $3,000, something like that. So I worked as a boat rigger, and that's where this came from. Okay, there was this guy who would paint the backs of boats. He would like paint words on the back of a boat, and he had really cool designs. And he said, "Listen, man, you're baking up there on those boats. Get yourself a bandana, soak it in water, tie it tight around your neck, and keep turning it over, and it will cool down your bloodstream, and you will actually feel cooler every time you turn your wet bandana." So I tried it, and it worked. It was nice. In the summertime, when I'm blasting down the highway on my motorcycle, I had a wet bandana, and I felt so cool. Not just, groovy cool, but like it was really, it's just a tool. So this ended up being sort of part of my trademark, whatever. I enjoy collecting many colored scarves, and, I try to do a color combination because I'm a props and locations and costume and, set stylist and color kind of person. You like my movie set with the funky plant curtains in the background? Anyhow. All right, so here's the game. I seem to be surrounded by single mothers. The whole world is swamped with single mothers. Why? Because of easy fooling around on the internet. When you are in a marriage relationship with another person and they're really bugging you, right? If you just get to say hello to someone who really likes you and is interested in you, it's a whole lot easier to hang out and chit chat with that person than it is to face the person that you need to be a mensch and change your behavior with and admit your faults. Like, my bad. I want to tell you the things that I've done wrong to you right now, and I hope you can forgive me for them. So marriages are getting busted up everywhere because of easy friendship on the web. It's literally almost like a lure. And as well as that, I mean, when I was a child, I discovered pictures of naked people enjoying themselves. And actually, I found a pile of magazines that were Sunshine and Health magazines, which are nudist magazines, and people who are just like playing tennis and swimming and hanging out as a family, and they just don't have any clothes on. So I was introduced to the disparity between ordinary naked people and then these stupid, crazy Playboy penthouse, la 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 la, oh baby, look at that chick, la 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 la. And I was like, you know what? If you have your own person, the most important thing is how they make you feel and how you guys do together. And so I became extremely bothered by male human beings who are like looking around at human beings who happen to have like, you know, extra breast activity and all that type of stuff. I'm like, man, like, why are you wasting your time, like, making all this noise over that human being who's busy living their life? You know, live your own life. So I, you know, since I was like 11, 12, 13 years old, I have been an iconoclast against, like, this stupid ideal girly form mess that's in the advertising. It's in the advertising. It's used to take male human beings and run them off track. So, when I was a kid, I saw pictures of naked human beings, and it was fascinating. Now, this is my chit-chat on porno. Now, you ever been to the zoo? Why do we go to the zoo? What's up with the zoo? Why do we go to the zoo? Because it's so fascinating to see all these different body forms wandering around and doing stuff. Like eating and jumping and just living their lives and sleeping. And sometimes they kind of get together and do the animal baby making. And that's extra interesting to watch. I mean, it's just plain interesting. It's fun to watch when two forms all of a sudden they fit together like a puzzle. That's kind of cool. And they're in the midst of some, you know, intensity and excitement and stuff going on that they don't usually have going on. And it's interesting to watch. When I was about 30 years old. I had a friend that worked on a stud farm in Pennsylvania. And do you know that we just loved to hang out on the rail and watch a girl horse literally twitching her bottom around and getting near to the stud horses, and then the stud horses get mighty big. And you think, how is this horse going to make this thing move into her without any hands? And somehow they managed to do it. It's pretty wild. But when it's all over, it's just it. They might do a little bit of frisky beforehand, and they might do a little bit of, you know, friendly and frisky afterwards, but it's not what they're doing all the time. It is not. It's not their ordinary activity. You know, more likely they're just running and 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 eating and eating and eating and running and running and running and eating and eating and getting their head scratched and eating some treats and carrots and things like that. I hung out at this stud farm, and I was kind of like, wow, this is cool. You know, it's like, since I had been raised on, you know, a handful, not lots and lots and lots, but a handful of porno pictures, never any movies. When I worked on that stud farm, it was kind of cool. I mean, we all like felt really satisfied and cheerful when, when the happy horny horses got together. So, here's the deal. Later on, when I was 37 years old, I had been a person who got involved in enjoying arousal at a very young age. Friendly, fun, feels really nice. Do you want to feel good? Okay, let's feel good, da 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 da. At a pretty young age. And so, giving pleasure to a girl, a woman that I felt friendly with, that was pretty much one of the secretly most important things in my life. It was an awesome thing. It was just very satisfying, but however, in retrospect, there were so many emotional pains, breakups, situations where I was hiding something and she was hiding something. And then me and a couple of my friends started doing the polyamorous thing, which means being with more than one person. I did that before they made the name up, just because, whatever, we want to make our friends feel good. Who says that you got to be strictly dedicated to one person and da 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 da? And a lot of that stuff is in the mind and where your mind goes and your emotions go. And I'm telling you, our minds and emotions are trained by the freaking entertainment that's being fed to us by the porno power money package. Do you know, a lot of people know me as a Christianity person. Do you know if you research 501c3 church, there are rules. You're not allowed to talk negatively about anything political. You're not allowed to talk negatively about pornography in your church setting. Why? Because they're protecting. The huge money people are protecting the real dark underworld powers so that they make all kinds of money, drugs, and sex, and distraction into entertainment. So the people are like, oh, okay, sex was good. Okay, give me entertainment. Okay, all right, now give me drugs. Okay, oh, now I gotta work. I'm gonna go to work. Okay, well, I think more drugs. A little bit of entertainment. And some really great sex. And so you're literally like, your mind is owned by all that stuff. Now, in the description of this thing, if I remember, I'm going to put in a handful of links that show you that the juggernaut, the world money powers, are actually drawing you and your mind towards things that they want to do with their money to own you and guide you and do stuff with you. It's just starting to rain outside in Florida. All right. So, now, I am 37 years old and I have a girlfriend. Yes, a sexual relationship with a girlfriend. And she is a concert pianist. She comes from a lineage of amazing Russian Jewish people, some of whom escaped the pogroms in the 1920s in Russia and escaped to Chicago and became part of the Chicago Symphony. And so, this is just like a really great friend. She wanted to get married to somebody, and I did not, because I'd had a lot of troubles in relationships. But she and I were really good friends. And we were doing the sharing the pleasure, making one another feel good. In her library was information from a very kind, very wise guy, a grandpop kind of guy, who gave information that was very kind about male self-control and female self-control. All right, now let's rewind and get real about something. The penis is meant to be shared, and the vulva and the clitoris is meant to be shared between two people. They're really nice to share. They just feel wonderful. But it's only around 1994-95 that they discovered the actual full form of the clitoris inside the woman, and they discovered that it's like just as big as the penis is on the outside, only it's inside, and it wraps around the wonderful vaginal place that feels so good. So there's actually a power that strengthens up and constricts the wonderful tube, the hole, the happy pink place. Okay, so that's just a reality. Male human being gets a big stiffy on the outside, female human being gets a big stiffy on the inside. That's the reality. Carrying the male body is a little bit more difficult because you got this thing that kind of stands up and says, hi, pay attention to me, I'm really beautiful, and it's really wonderful to share me with somebody else. So I like to say, look, everybody's got the feel good, and don't be surprised if somebody comes up to you and wants to share their feel good with you. Don't be surprised about that. Be ready, be prepared. Say, oh wow, man, that's so nice. Not right now. Thanks, see ya. Zoom. Now, of course, plenty of people don't want to say no. And that's part of the brainwashing coming all around. It's more interesting, more naughty and exciting to say no to the one that you've made a promise with, and to say yes to the special new treat that's like treating you a little bit nicer, and you don't feel like going back and reconciling and staying in power. So everybody gets to feel good, either solo or shared. Now, so I have this wonderful friend, and in her library I am learning how to actually just have a voice of peace, like a thankfulness about your whole physiology, and breathe. Just the breaths that keep me alive, the heartbeats that are keeping me alive, the nervous system and the endocrine system. You're literally putting smiling energy into all the systems, even my skin, my exoderm. I am sending smiling energy, happy energy into my skin to refresh it and drive away troubles and infirmities and dirt and bad stuff. So you can literally put smiling energy in your whole GI tract, from your mouth all the way to the exit, and say happy, 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 happy all the way through. And so basically having a thank you time regarding all the forms of your physiology. It was the first training part of this series of books. The second part was cultivating male sexual energy. And the third part was cultivating female sexual energy. Well, much of the information in these books were really interesting to me. Now, as I look back on them, there's a lot of complexities, there's a lot of like extra fluff that I honestly say to you, it causes me to keep away from those books that I learned from. The most important things that I learned are these, and I'm delivering this to the young guy, boy who's become a man, connected with these amazing single moms all around the place, because our job as a family is to create really wonderful dads who enjoy the woman unit in a way that's just like grand. Building business, doing creative stuff, full of joy, full of a song, full of great ideas. That is what we want to do as a family. Not like we have to avoid raising amazing women. I mean, that's really what I'm doing right here. One of my favorite teachers said, there is an essence to a mother who wants to enact justice and to set protection over her children in danger. It's like a mother bear kind of instinct. How am I going to figure out how to keep these kids from getting into danger and messed up? And that motherly drive, that power, is a thing that sometimes men best be listening to. It's what I call the provisional wisdom of the female. Female's got 3 wisdom powers in her. She has an emotional memory regarding her body, which has cycles, and her body that's used as a food source, the nipples from the breast, and the body that's used to grow a baby and then push it out. She has an emotional memory and understanding that men often miss. Oh, honey, we're gonna go on this trip. Well, how is our little kid gonna be able to blah 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 and et cetera, et cetera? And then the guy's like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. You're right. Well, how do you think we should handle that? So the woman has an emotional memory that is aware of the needs, because she has been a steward of this body that has down times. Okay, the woman has times of relative peace that are long, but then there's shorter periods of time where there's a lot of difficulty, and they're interspersed. So that's why the woman, she's in this difficulty. She's like, I can't wait until my time of peace. I'm really in pain right now. I can't wait to the time of peace. And then there's a time of peace. That's why the woman says, you know what? Let's not spend all the money on the motorcycle, because like bad stuff happens. And like, I know this from my body. You have to look out for the cycle of bad things that are come up on you. Let's spend even most of the money on the motorcycle. But we need to keep a reserve, because what if something bad happens? So the woman has a provisional awareness, like a safety awareness. A man doesn't get hit with waves of pain and this kind of difficulty and shame with the blood coming out of his body. Understand this. Get real about this. Because especially with young men, if you start realizing what your female counterparts are going through when they're 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you can actually be a mensch. You can be a decent friend and just give them shelter, give them a little freedom, care about them. I could pop up some details from Leviticus 15, but I won't do that right now. There's a picture in there of women being treated extra special during their cycle. The whole family treats them extra special, and they get to rest more and not be pushed to the limit, and they get to just kind of be away, which is cool. It's interesting. So, all right, so I'm reading these books, and they're really interesting. This guy says, in wise cultures of this world, a male human being when he's like 10 years old, is taught by the family, not just the men, but by the family, how to become aroused and then just say no. And personally control the quieting down of the big stiffy for men and for women. But men need to focus on it more because it's more challenging. The male has part of his body that's much more irresistible. It's very interesting, and it's kind of demanding attention from time to time. And the whole family needs to smile and joke and be real about that. May the men have peace and good strength and self-control when they start feeling like, I want somebody to help me enjoy my body. And figuring out who your person is part of that. But being able to be delighted by your person, especially when you're together, is a thing that I learned from this guy. Here's how it goes. Men and women as well. First of all, take your hands, clench them into a fist, and then clench them tight as possible. Then, take your shoes and socks off, take your feet and dig them into the rug and make a fist with your feet. Flex your feet in a toes grabbing the floor move. Okay? And also, right here, there's some giant muscles right in your jaw. You know, your jaw has the ability to crack things and do amazing stuff. So, clenching your hands, clenching your toes, and then clenching your jaw. Strong, 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 strong. Clenching your jaw. Clench. Tight, 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 tight. And then, we're going to do all those three things together. 1, 2, 3, go. Clench, clench, clench. And then also, you pull up on your Kegel muscle, which is your stop peeing muscle. Just focus on that. You sit there on the edge of a chair, so that your feet are on the floor, and so your bottom is right at the edge of the chair, so you can dig your feet in, and you go clench on the hands, clench on the toes, clench on the mouth, and clench and pull up on your stop peeing muscle. This is the practice. 1, 2, 3, go. And you see if you can hold it to the count of like 12, because you're working out some muscles. Now, the whole process started with inviting smiling energy into all of your systems, and even speaking out. My heart and cardiovascular, I'm speaking smiling energy into all of it, all the flow of my blood. Happiness, giggles, flowing, 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 alive and fresh, alive and fresh. I speak smiling energy into my lungs and where I get my oxygen transfer. And you go through all the systems, your GI tract, your nervous system, your exoderm, your bones, your bone marrow, your muscle structure. You actually take time, and you also breathe. You do some practice controlled breathing. And then after all that's done, you do this clenching exercise. Now, if you're a male or female human being and you are aroused, if you do that clenching exercise, because all of these muscles, you're using your conscious, forceful decision to flex 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of muscles. And because you're doing that, it actually steals blood away from your big stiffy genital structure in the man on the outside and on the woman on the inside. So I learned how to do this, and this is what happened. The ability for my friend and I to share pleasure became so wonderful, because after doing this clenching practice 3 times, 6 times, 9 times in a row by yourself, when you are together in the strong intimacy, which literally should have a protection from the tribe around it. Why do people sign a marriage document? Because they're saying, may the tribe and the family around us hold us to the promise to be together until one of us dies. That's a covenant. When you make a covenant, it does not end with a piece of paper. It ends when one of those 2 people dies. And a lot of people think that's nuts and ta-da-da, but that is the concept of marriage covenant. And I actually enjoy that idea nowadays. I did not a long time ago, including in the age when I was learning this self-control. So if you do this clenching self-control exercise multiple times, 3 times, 6 times, 9 times, you start discovering that there's an inner place where you can turn off the arousal and kind of calm yourself down without all of the physical clenching. You start discovering that there is a willpower inside of me that can actually cause me to quiet down. And when I did these exercises for a period of time, number one, the intimacy between me and my friend was so amazing and lasted for so long and was so enjoyable. She practically in tears said, I have never had a physical experience like this before. I mean, it is so amazing that I feel like we shouldn't even be doing this if we're not like promised to each other, because this is it. This is how it's supposed to be. And so we could actually choose to be together for a long period of time with lots of motion and action, and it was truly wonderful. And I was like, how come somebody didn't teach me this? This is like not a complicated thing. How come somebody didn't teach me this when I was like, 8 to 13 years old? And I'm thinking like, all these adults are around me and they know the feel good and how awesome it is to share it with someone. And nobody even talked to me about this stuff or even checked in to see how I'm doing. Are you going a little crazy? What's going on with your mind? Are you having fantasy things? Are you caught in arousal? Are you addicted to arousal? Nobody ever asked me any of those questions, and I'm telling you, they needed to, because if they had asked me from time to time, I would have said yes. Gosh, I'm going a little crazy, I need some help. How can I da-da-da-da-da-da-da, here's what's going on. They never got a chance to help me, and that in the vernacular really sucks. It's horrible. I mean, what I learned at 37 years old, 36 years old, what I learned at 36 years old was just a universal, simple thing about human physiology. And I know that the big money powers who are behind porno and a bunch of other brainwashing stuff do not want this kind of wisdom to be shared around in the family. So, that is point number 2. Number 1 is, why do I wear this scarf? Number 2 is this is the monumental transition that happened in my life, and I wish that it happened when I was 10 years old. With parents and adults saying, if you can practice this, if you can get a big stiffy and then literally will it to calm down and get soft and small. If the female woman can actually become aroused, but then literally say no and quiet down. If the male human being and the female human being can learn how to do that at a young age, literally before the menstrual cycle, before the first baby fountain splash full of babies, you guys, you are full of amazing children. Every single one of them is different. And you're literally a fountain of life. There's an old Eastern saying, God's secret is man. Man's secret is power. A man has power to populate. If one man set up a row of 20 women, he could actually get a baby going in all 20 of them in a short period of time. And he would literally have an army of 20 children to help him with his business and his life. That's power. To populate this beautiful garden, this world. So God's secret is man. Man's secret is power. And then woman's power is body. The woman's body can catch the fountain from the man, splash. Her body can catch that fountain and bring forth the life. And literally surround his longing with a strong, powerful comfort, which is the clitoris. That's the picture. It's not complicated. This is not pornography. This is just reality. Now, plenty of people will denounce the things that I'm saying to you right now as, oh man, he's so focused on sex and blah, 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 blah. Listen. This changed my whole life. I actually did not want to fool around with women after I had broke this woman's heart who wanted to get married. She wanted to get married to somebody, and she said, I'm willing to get married to you. And I was like, I already wrecked a marriage, and I haven't been a good person, and I haven't been faithful and consistent, and I can't do this. I need to figure out what my life is supposed to be. You know, thank you so much that you would like to marry me. That's what was going on with me. Now, but this funny grandpa kind teacher says, when a man has learned how to say no and quiet his erection, the sexual interaction between him and a woman becomes wonderful for both of them. And to put his own body, which stands up and interrupts the whole family, hi everybody, come here, look what I got. The man, if he becomes self-controlled in these ways, is literally ready to be a friend of God and literally to walk with the invisible friend and say, okay man, so what are we supposed to do? You want me to fake left? Do you want me to fake right? Do you want me to spend time with this person, or is that a no-no? Show me how I am supposed to walk. What kind of career should I be training in? I mean, these questions are what I got filled with after I learned how to say to my body, shh, quiet, ain't time now. No, sorry. Yeah, it feels good for a minute. And then we can just calm down. And we don't need to lose our chi. We don't need to squirt our baby fountain all the time. That's actually hurtful. You're losing chi. Another Eastern saying is that when you give your sexual energy to another person, you don't get it back in the sex. You actually get it back when that one person is the only person in the world who's willing to forgive you of your stupid behavior, because they need you around for when they feel good. And they have mercy on you because you are such a good treat to enjoy. The man and the woman both. You get your sexual energy back in forgiveness. When you're being completely stupid and that person comes to you and says, "Oh, honey, you really blew it this time. I love you so much. You must be feeling really embarrassed." That's where you get the energy back from the sex that you've shared. So if you give your sex energy to a person and they just go away and you're alone and you're not getting that energy back in mercy when you're stupid, then you're losing. Your life is just kind of like hurting, and it's sinking. It's sinking and sinking and sinking. Now, I'm a person who actually has a deep respect for my first marriage vow, which I made when I was 28 years old. And even though that person does not look at that covenant the same way, doesn't matter. I love the idea that I promised to be with one person until one of the two of us died. And now my mind goes back to that person and sends them good energy. And I wash away the slate of the other relationships and situations, and I am, in my mind, a married person who is now separated from my spouse. But now I'm enjoying my singleness, and I'm getting so much farther in business and friendship and caring for families and children, coming up with great family business ideas in this time of world insanity. And I invite you literally to team up with me. I do. Let's talk. Let's do some stuff. So I'm not even going to talk about the Jesus, God, church, and Bible stuff and the fact there's a spirit realm. Oh, I will tell you this. When you share your arousal with someone, or when you use visuals like porno videos and porno images, when you use porno images, or when you share your arousal with someone that you're not in life covenant with, you are opening doors to ugly spirits. And those spirits can camp out on you for months and months and months, and you're not going to feel any kind of problems. But right when you should be making a relationship connection with a person that is really best for you, those dark spirits will just shove you off track and say, "Oh, check out this person, go get that person," and you will miss your opportunities to literally be with the one that the two of you can enjoy that like sweetness of the occasional, just like the stud farm story. It's not something that you're doing all the time. You're not having sex all day and all night. In your mind, you are a little bit because you really enjoy the memory with your person. But it's not actually what you're functioning in every single day. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm on dialysis. Bam. They put these giant needles in my arm just to keep me alive. And I love that dialysis machine. If I was born in Haiti or Congo, I would just be flipping dead, man. I would not be alive. I'm an American. I can sit next to this groovy machine. I want to make a cartoon of me hugging my dialysis machine. Hi, I love my machine. She keeps me alive. It's so cool. And I love all the people in the, dialysis world. I got friends. But I tell you what, when you are on your deathbed If you get T-boned in a car accident and your life is going away from you, you're not going to think about how many nice, good-looking people you had sex with. You're going to be thinking, am I going to be received by the spirit of peace, or am I just like rejected because I didn't care about God? That is your freaking heavy duty warning challenge. If you died in an hour, what would your friendship with Yeshua, the supernatural visitors, the Son of God, and the Holy Spirit, and the people that are high on God and really cool to hang out with because they're straight line, and the Spirit and this world? What is your relationship? Are you a download from beautiful spirit of loving kindness, caring for this crazy world? Are you? Or are you just running for yourself and pissed off because people didn't treat you right, and this darn thing is going on in my family, and how come the heck my parents need to get divorced, and how come this thing and that thing? I mean, I am talking to 1 million young men and 1 million single moms. And you know what? We are going to teach one thing. This really groovy rabbi said to me, the biggest problem of the human family is the men are not taught how to teach the girls and the women how wonderful they are. I mean, when they walk in the room, things feel better. Not because of lust, ooh baby, I want to get you. And not because of codependence, oh, I need my mommy, I need my mommy. When the woman walks in the room, the men just feel better. They feel better. Woman form is like a wonderful gift. It's wonderful. Woman form can step in the room. She doesn't have to say a thing. She doesn't have to say one word. And the whole room feels better. And the little kid's like, bah, bah, mommy, me, mommy. The children and the men feel better because woman's power is body. So if you are a male human being and you can remember to say to your sisters and your friends, that's really awesome. That's really cool how you did that. You really help people. You make things better. You just make things better. I'm telling you, women have a problem. The problem is they're looking in the mirror to figure out whether they look okay, whether they are okay, and they want to find out some kind of reaction from somebody to confirm that they're okay. So when your mom, kiddo, single mom, is like pushed to the limit and totally stressed out, you grab her hands when you can tell she's stressed out and say, listen, I'm with you, mama chick. You are okay. And things are going to be okay. And you can rest. Take some time to rest and build and have some enjoyment. You don't need a man to be refreshed. God tells me that. You just need to hear that you're wonderful. And I'm telling you, Mom, you're wonderful. That's all you need to say. And you need to say that regularly. And you need to look at the female human beings. And you need to tell when they seem the most stressed or in the most kind of trouble. And you need to give them encouragement, a song. Run out and get 5 flowers and leave it for them. They'll never forget it. Just 5 beat up wildflowers. I'm like, wow, someone was thinking about me. I figured nobody's thinking about me. That's what the darkness that's going on in the woman mind is. I'm not accepted. I'm not acceptable. I'm not accepted, I'm not acceptable. And in the man mind, one of the things that's going on with the man mind is like, who is going to enjoy this part of me that's so cool to share? Who's going to enjoy this? So you single moms, you pray. Lay hands on the little brothers. Lay hands on them and say, God, give this man the satisfaction to be at peace with this wild body that he has. Give him a good day and help him not go crazy, because he is the baby fountain for the tribe. Give him his person when it's time to have his person. And I'll tell you, if you look around the cultures of this world, the smartest cultures, I mean, I used to hang out with Mennonites and Amish, and some of those kids, not all of them, but a good chunk of those kids actually know who they're going to be with when they're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. Mama, Papa, what do you think about that Betty girl? Papa can say, she is very respectful to her parents. She is a nice girl. And they're already saying, okay, you don't have to do the Hollywood Disney boyfriend girlfriend spirit and shop. Oh, do I want this? Do I want that? Do I want this? Do I want that? You can feel in your spirit with God, that is the person who's my person. And sometimes the parental units and the people around you are like, oh, you shouldn't be with her because he's blah, 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 blah. What if you end up giving that girl a transformation at a point where nobody can see in the future, and it becomes awesome and wonderful? So what I'm trying to say is, when you are 8 to 13 years old, don't be surprised if you have a feeling for who your person actually could be. But you know what? They're going to come up against you and say, oh, well, you're way too young to think about stuff like that. And that's just puppy love. And you need to have a career. And you need to focus on money, 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 business, 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 money, money, money. And not focus on your physiology, which is designed to be like a big horsey and just go after what you're made for. That's a good thing, especially if you have a tribe around you helping you hear from the sweet one on the inside. Those are my words to you. We're at 57 minutes. I was born in 1957. That's kind of fun. All right. All the best to you and yours. That is number 1. I am working on an extremely courageous book title. It's called The Clitoris and Christianity. A man discovers beautiful hidden things in the world. Whoa, 58. That's a infinity number. 5 and 8. Peace be with you, y'all.